All right, and welcome to NAST Week 5, FRCK Esports versus FURT. Game 1 here on Atlas Labs. I'm Lego Mage. I'm here with Hamster Quest today for
What
this
is good,
awesome
y'all?
series.
Yeah, I'm really excited to cast this, obviously, because I am a player of frickin' esports, so they wanted a really biased cast. I don't think I'll take it that far, but, I'll give my credit where credit's due.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a built diff, stacks on stacks start as well, so size versus speed. Um, FURT preferring the size here with two members picking up that built diff, and actually both sides gonna have two members on that extra size. Already an open goal here for frickin' esports, and it will be FURT taking the first point in game 1 right now. But Hamster Quest, looking at these team comps, what are your opinions on the picks coming in here?
Yeah, I definitely do have some thoughts. Both teams are definitely playing like traditional roles. You can see a traditional brawler, a traditional midfield, and then Rasmus has been played so much in the goalie position these days that that looks obviously not out of place. So the compositions are fine. I was a bit interested why Zen went the size over the stacks, but honestly, for the Strike Wars, it makes sense. Andy's so huge that's going to be important anyway. And, look at the pressure that they have with that Estelle and they're playing midfield. The matchup into Juno is comparable, but they have the range across both characters to really keep and box in and keep the core really close to Rasmus, where his primaries might not be as effective, and he's really relying on the secondary and the hook to do most of the work.
And so far, FURT off to a very strong start here with the first 2 points. Frickin' esports looking to fight back, but FURT just rotating right back onto their side of the field, and Ripstick taking up a nice midfield position here, allowing Angle Senpai to fall back a bit. That picks up another barrier, a pass up around the black hole, and a power play starts here as well. Overgrown Lemon picks up the KO, and just big pressure coming out from FURT. A nice save from Andy, but it's not going to be enough.
No,
And
yeah,
FURT,
the evade was so great, but the Soren angle, yeah, Overgrown Lemon's gonna pick that up no problem. That's a very aggressive start. I mean, they're moving the field like as exactly as you should, and keeping your opponent boxed in like that, and just freaking esports not able to get their foothold so far in the match. And more size is gonna go over to Zentaro, denying that from Rasmus, but he's honestly happy to pick up the team player. If you're freaking esports, the situation, you do want to look for alternative win conditions. You need to switch up your play somewhat if you're going to lose that first set so fast. You got to be addressing what's going wrong and what are other ways you can win. I can also test that this jump training on Juno is going to do some work too. Freaking Chris, obviously, no stranger to the pick.
FURT off to another explosive start here. 7-second barriers. Just right off of that draft. And Overgrown Lemon already looking for the point. Picks up the KO, though. Onto Andy. And a pass up to Angle Senpai here. Looking for the top corner. Freaking Chris trying to hold it down. But now Ripstick's up in the box as well. And Overgrown Lemon the slice and dice to put it away. FURT just keep on scoring. They're off to a really dominant start here.
Yeah, I don't even think we saw an offensive opportunity from Frickin' in that whole last point. Now they finally win a face-off, though. But it's back to their defense side. They might have some room to breathe, though, after this KO. It's going to turn into a double barrier. The momentum boots from Ripstick is not going to be fast enough to cover that second barrier. Just a little bit out of position here, but Frickin' Esports needs to capitalize if they want to get this game back into the realm of winnable for them.
Adicam with a little opportunity there, but FURT hold it down for the first time. A nice top spin, though. We'll be able to find Ripstick on the goal box edge there and stuff it in to the points. Taking out the goalie. One way to score here, but it's a long hill for frickin' esports to climb, and so far they're going to have to rely on Edicam, I think, a lot in order to climb that.
A long hill and a tall hill. Like, it's not every set you're going to get a KO on every goal point to give yourself the opportunity to score on your opponent, let alone get the kill on the goalie too to really secure the goal. Now into this flip play, well defended so far, but it's gonna be striked in by Angel Senpai.
Yeah, nice strike to get it through there. A little bit of a mix-up on whether that was going to Lemon or not. And Andy was forced to think really fast there. Now FURT on set point yet again here. We do have some energy up for the side of frickin' esports. Nice death touch here from Andy to rotate it around back to Edicam. Senpai with the strike board picks up the KO off the piercing shot as well. And it's a power play, but against the power play here, Edicam able to burn the flip and pick up the second barrier. Overgrown Lemon not looking too healthy. Frickin' esports might be able to salvage something from this core flip here from Andy. Catches Ripstick too far up. It's just gonna go right around, and frickin' esports tying it up on set point here.
Yeah, Andy's got that map awareness. Thankfully, I was a bit worried, right? Because Andy is a very KO centric player. He's always. Yeah, I asked him the other day about. I'm like, what do you think's like the most like the biggest section you need to improve on as a player? And he told me, he's like, I deliberately make some bad plays on purpose. Like he'll throw cooldowns into the enemies just to damage them, and he's like, I might have enough resources to defend afterwards. And so when Overgrown Lemon was back there in the corner, I was really afraid he was just going to use that flip to try to KO, and Overgrown Lemon saw it coming, and thankfully he saw that angle to score the goal.
Now power play here for frickin' esports with frickin' Chris picked up that KO. The second barrier gone now, and Andy up in the midfield looking to apply as much pressure as possible. We'll get their forward back online here. Angle Senpai, a quick blink back to catch that core. Send it back around. FURT trying to get it past the Blobbo, though, with a nice pass up. Edicam looking to find shots on the goal, but going to get KO'd for it. Staggered on Kazan, and the Thorns from Angle Senpai able to steal away from Andy, and that's both sides opened up. FURT with the power play, trying to work it up the field. Angle Senpai blinking in. The Blobbo from frickin' Chris sends it right back, but Ripstick trying to launch it back upfield. Overgrown Lemon looking to line up the secondary, but some nice defense from frickin' esports, still holding it down. Frickin' Chris up to Edicam, doesn't find a shot here, might have another opportunity in the corner. The Blobbo from frickin' Chris picks off Ripstick, though. A power play for frickin' esports. They've got a flip to work with, but Overgrown Lemon trying to buy some time. Core flip from frickin' Chris, sends it screaming across the field to the top corner. Frickin' esports. I mean, they're climbing the hill, making the comeback, and they tied the game.
They brought their gear. That last draft gave them the gear they needed to surmount the summit of Mount down one set. It's not the worst thing, but with how quickly they won that first set, we were really concerned there. But just a small misread on the jump. Angel Senpai forced to take that 50-50 and lose the guess on the shot on the goal, and that's going to be the bit of luck that frickin' esports is going to use to get into the second set. And to a little icing on the cake, there's first pick Juno Hotshot, recently nerfed, but still going to be pretty effective. Frickin' Chris already kind of red coring, especially with the speed from Andy's team player, the passes to frickin' Chris. So now they're going to move a very fast core, which is a great win condition, an absolute great win condition. I'll say it again, against Asher in the net. You have to shoot wide, you have to move the core fast, you have to pass if you want to score on an Asher goalie. And that's exactly what frickin' esports have figured out.
That's where they've certainly been seeing their success thus far. A lot of damage onto frickin' Chris, though. At the moment, a piercing shot from Angle Senpai to finish him off, and that's both barriers down, though, for FURT. They have the power play, but Edicam, nice core control, just buying a few precious seconds here. Overgrown Lemon in the top side with the flip, looking for the primary. But Andy sent it back across, and frickin' Chris on the respawn forces Ripstick to find a Soren angle. Edicam looking to recover on the rebound. Pass splitter shuts it down, though. Both sides looking for some kind of hold on the core. It's going to be Angle Senpai here in the midfield. A nice pass across, but Ripstick with the core flip sends it back up to Overgrown Lemon. That's both sides going to be opened up here. Edicam looking to find more pressure. Frickin' Chris on the top side here. Not able to find a strike to line up, though. Edicam pretty low, but does have a flip available. Looking to possibly burn it here. The Xenol, though, pushes it back, but Edicam still able to find the core and strike it in regardless. Put frickin' esports up 1-0.
Yeah, not the cleanest point, not to harp on frickin' esports. A lot of like plays, we're going back and forth. It's very strange to have to track your teammates' cooldowns, but like we'll see like passes to Edicam where he doesn't have hook and like just burned it, and the pass was like just behind. It's like, had they just tightened it up, I was preparing to say why they didn't score that point, but hey, they found it anyway. They got when you get the passing just right, you can score much cleaner. But hey, if you don't need it every point, then you don't need it every point. So I'll stop yapping about that.
For it here. They're going to bounce back. Damage getting traded around, but it's Overgrown Lemon who's able to pick off freaking Chris first here. Flip available for the forward and the goalie over here will be Andy burning it first as Overgrown Lemon's recovery drone gets activated there. Not too eventful of a power play as freaking Chris will respawn, but angles Senpai a nice piercing shot to pick off the barrier. Andy was on the bottom side there, but Edicam with the top spin immediately evens it up, and that's a power play as well, though. Overgrown Lemon looking to kill the power play. A shot to the bottom. Doesn't quite get the angle I was looking for. Now Edicam up to the top side. A little help from freaking Chris. Nice setup there.
Does. He gets the angle. Yeah, my God. Like, Lemon has been a player on the up and up. I'm gassing up the team that either gets scored on or I'm critiquing the team that's scoring. I'm the weird caster, but yeah, no, Overgrown Lemon almost had the play there, and Edicam just executing just marginally better. Is turning this into what might be a set win for frickin' esports here. They're just doing more with the pressure. Unfortunately, Ripstick doesn't have the tools at range that Andy does, and that's what's currently, I think, being capitalized on.
Edicam there, forced to burn the flip. Andy able to pick up a KO there onto a staggered Overgrown Lemon, setting up the power play for the team. The Blabo plus Edicam able to pick up that second barrier now, and energy coming online for that frickin' esports back line. Launches a Blabo to the top side. A nice angle, but Ripstick right there, and with the corporate send it back. Oh. Andy caught out in the midfield. Ripstick finds the angle to bounce it around. Massive gap there.
Oh no, Andy, tune it out. Tune out the voice of Oppabug in your ears. Of a recent critique we had in scrims was that he's caught out of position, and that was the thing that he should work on. But hey, with how successful he's been playing so far, every goalie gets one.
Yeah, for sure. Ripstick had his earlier in the match as well. But now Andy once again pushed up. Big offense there on that power play. Oh my goodness. And immediately FURT pick up a KO for their power play of their own here. Andy forced to defend, but just pushing back up into the midfield. What? One-on-one with Ripstick and wins it. The whiplash just enough. Ripstick did not strike it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You know, it was the play I wasn't expecting, and you know, you can catch a lot of goalies off guard that way. You know, if I'm in solo queue and I'm in net, I will play significantly worse if my opponents are weirder. if I have the gold forward line on the opponent's team and I'm used to Omega, then wild things are going to be happening. Do not watch me when I'm playing like that. But what we do want to watch here is Andy just got more size, and he's got a lot of power out of it. And he's team player. Red cores might be happening way before overtime at this point, and now the momentum has absolutely just tilted in the favor of frickin' esports at this point.
Yeah, they've certainly been on a roll here, and only needing one more set now to close out game one. They hope to keep it that way. Edicam able to bring down the first barrier and looking for a second one. A nice shot around Ripstick here, and a nice bounce favorably as well to set him right up as the goal gates open. All he's got to do is win the strike war, and in fact, Edicam will do that. Freaking esports, they're looking to close this one out.
Edicam says, "Oh, Hamster Quest, you say that's not clean? Let me show you this play." And delivers us that beautiful goal of a point. Now, only 2 goals away from closing out the first game. They can keep that clean play up. Let's talk slightly about what FURT can do here to change things up. Honestly, I like when Angel Senpai is coming back to help. Yeah, staying active on the defense side is going to keep these barriers up. You know, defend the angles that Ripstick can't, and try to force them to shoot directly on Ripstick. The passes need to be cut, and that is going to be a bit hard with the course speed, but we'll see what they can get done.
One barrier still up here for Ripstick. Edicam burning the core flip. Not going to be too successful on that one. For it holding strong here and looking to battle back. Attacking that top corner hard. And rotating down to the bottom side. Ripstick moving up here as well. There's the Zenalt on the bottom side. Core flip from Overgrown Lemon. Fakes him out a little with the passive and then walks back for the strike. And FURT will be able to tie this one up here. 1-1. They're not just out of it quite yet. And they're I mean, they're still in it.
They are certainly still in it. You know, we talked a bit, pendulum swinging the momentum in freaking esports' favor, but, you know, by no means do we say FURT is unable to capitalize on the offensive side. That has been here present the entire match. So honestly, if they're just getting the opportunities, then, you know, screw all the macro play I'm talking about. They'll just be successful that way.
And Overgrown Lemon here taking a lot of damage, getting beat up pretty hard. We'll be able to pick up the orb, but Edicam, just keep it that way. Overgrown Lemon, though, still making plays happen. Opens up the goal here. Angle step by on the top corner. Doesn't quite find the shot. Andy gonna reset that recovery drone on the Zentaro here. Send him all the way back to the goal box. Now the ball in Andy's court. Angle Senpai looking to recover here in the midfield. Blink up to the top side. Andy just barely fast enough to make that save. Overgrown Lemon still in position, but Angle Senpai just right to the bottom. Freaking esports a little bit discoordinated on where that was going to go, and FURT going to walk away with another point here as they're one away from bringing this to set 5.
Yep, it's I mean, a close match, for lack of more insightful words. I mean, I'm just watching how they're attacking this, and it's oppressive each time. And even I think that was a slight mix-up. You know, once you've kind of download your opponent and get them to expect one thing, you just change it up on them. There they go.
Yeah, and I mean, just like that, FURT came out to a blazing start before getting taken over by FRCK Esports. Now they're right back to it, and now it's set 5. Now it's anyone's game here. Big fish, more size on the board, as well as quite a bit of damage. Spark of leadership showing up for anyone who might be interested in that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where the size goes. I think it's gonna end up, I was gonna say probably on Asher, but Spark of leadership. Oh, she's got 2 sparks, that's why. I'm like, duh. But Andy's going to pick up that Deadeye prize fighter, not to be slept up on Juno. The power is going to turn that core red sooner, especially pre-overtime without Andy's help on the team player. Kind of everything makes sense here. I might have personally gone for the glass cannon. I kind of like being a small target myself and also getting the speed and the power that way. But hey, either way kind of works here.
A lot of damage getting dumped out early on to the back line here of freaking esports as both their barriers fell pretty early on. FURT taking the big attack come out, barely able to clear that out. Overgrown Lemon secondary there. Now Ripstick up on the top side. Edicam should be able to get one barrier here. Angle Senpai forcing it back out. And Ripstick running up a pass splitter to the top corner, not able to connect. More shots on goal, but Overgrown Lemon recovery drone getting reset again here. Will whiff the core flip as well, but down on the bottom side might have an opportunity to make a play, though the Blavo is going to make that a little bit difficult. Edicam looking for this final barrier here at the top spin, but the core not able to connect. And Overgrown Lemon, another opportunity in this top corner as the Zen ult and a piercing shot showing up, but it's the Zen ult here that finishes it off as well as gets the KO on Andy. And FURT striking first in set 5.
Yeah, very important play from Angle Senpai there to CC the enemy goalie. You know, Andy was prepared to get the perfect strike timing off of that Zen ult, but you know, the Crystal Thorns. Sorry, the oh my God, I forgot my main's primary ability. The Estelle primary there, getting the CC piercing shot.
Yeah,
of course. Okay.
Ooh.
Well, took up your play-by-play. All good.
All good. I mean, the piercing shot. There it is.
It's back again.
Piercing shot. Yeah, but
blink your eyes and it scores another goal. Is the reason for another goal scored.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, FURT up 2-0 here at set 5. Andy does pick up a big KO there. They got 2 flips to work with. FRCK Esports might be able to run away with this point here. A nice dash up from Ripstick to beat Andy in the midfield, but frickin' Chris able to get back in time to hold both barriers. Still holding out against his power play, and Overgrown Lemon coming right back online, but Edicam with the top spin immediately takes him off the field again. Angle Senpai, a nice little sneaky strike around frickin' Chris for the first barrier here. A tough battle for the second FURT barrier, but eventually frickin' Esports will bring it down. Overgrown Lemon on respawn. Once again, looking to make this attack. Frickin' Chris has been very good on the defense thus far. To Andy. The top side trying to force it up to Edicam, but Overgrown Lemon able to get in the way and open up the goal here. Core flip pass from freaking Chris over to Edicam, looking for the flip, but doesn't actually burn it here yet. Still in the corner, looking for it here, and there's the opportunity to get it through. Freaking Esports.
Freaking Chris, the absolute hero of that defense, saved 2 barriers. I think the last barrier twice with some jumps. They do have to spend 2 flips in order to get that goal, so they're at a unfortunate energy deficit here. FRCK also been very active, getting down the field, not afraid to keep that pressure up, which has been very pivotal in how impressive their offense can be. And you know, the only saving grace we've had so far for these guys, frickin' Esports, was the KOs and the damage. Traded double barriers.
Flip here from Angle Senpai to flip it around. Overgrown Lemon not able to connect. It's gonna get back to Ripstick. Freaking Chris looking for the pass, but Ripstick with the core flip pass up. Overgrown Lemon picks off the goalie, and it's a big power play here for FURT. If they can get it past Edicam, who's gone great on the core control so far. Angle Senpai up to the top corner, and enough primaries to force it through freaking Chris. FURT will be taking game 1. They started off so strong, and they were able to finish it out despite a bit of a lull there in the middle here on Atlas Lab. And take a look at this stat screen briefly as well.
So it's so interesting to watch that these teams have clear strengths. We're seeing like pretty strong KO pressure from the side of freaking Esports. I mean, the KOs are gonna say they're about even. I mean, Overgrown Lemon's doing his thing, but the fact that everyone is very active on freaking Esports to get the KOs has been just giving them the space they need to be a bit more active and figure out what they need to do on the offensive side. We saw, I think, more attacking from where the first barrier take was than I'd like. I think against an Asher, they kind of had it solved in sets in the past, but when they spend too much time trying to attack on that side, Asher doesn't really care. That's the place she likes to be. And if you kind of, you know, bring the core a little bit back closer to your side and attack on that shorter side where the last barrier is, then you get a little bit more activity from your goalie, especially when it's Rasmus, the primaries, and getting on that side is a lot scarier because as soon as you see a passing play out of that too, you know, freaking Chris can even jump out of there. Edicam can hook or be active in any space around the short side, I'll call it, on at lab, and unfortunately that wasn't utilized to the highest degree. That I think that might have been the one point that's in that fixable range of if you notice it, you can get it done. You know, you're not going to be able to change your whole, like, you're a KO player and just stop and focus on scoring. That might make you play worse. But that was the one thing I think I did catch, that is in that fixable range that could be executed within a match.
Right, and at game 2 here on Demon Dais on a Monumentalist Twin Drive start here. Pretty interesting approach as we see both teams taking a different approach to the Twin Drive start. Luna and Atlas, the classic duality of man here. And, I mean, already freaking Esports off to a start with an immediate KO.
It's going to be an immovable force of Twin Drive Atlas. Just kidding. Against an unstoppable force of Twin Drive Luna. And so far, Luna in the lead. That's my analysis. You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know how much there was really to analyze on that point. But maybe this point will be a little bit longer here. Edicam, nice pendulum swing to pick up the first barrier from around the back. As for it, looks to fight back. I mean, everyone took Twin Drive here. No one even bothered touching the Manu. Everyone, of course, on the Mag Souls. So nothing crazy on the starts, really.
Because Finney's out. It's like, I don't think I want Manu on anything else. Other than now, guess what? That's banned too.
Yeah. But FURT able to pick up their second barrier here and look for some kind of scoring opportunity. Spread out. Overgrown Lemon in position, just waiting to receive. Nice boost here from Andy to push it back up the field and pick up the barrier there as well. 2 flips available for frickin' Esports. Frickin' Chris looks to bring it to the top side. Angle Senpai Putting off that side of the field, but Edicam, though, looking to pull FRCK out of the way. Andy boosting up here as well. 3-on-2, but FURT holds strong. Overgrown Lemon getting the core back, but frickin' Chris now trying to fight back into Firewall Sentry. Core flip here from Edicam, jumping in as Angle Senpai with a flip of their own to steal it away, and over to Overgrown Lemon, dribbling in the corner here, but the Blobos come out on defense. Not too much happening off of that. Might have another opportunity here. A nice kick, but Cyberswipe going wide. It gets back to Edicam, who goes to the top, and finally picks up the point there. A really short point to a pretty long point there, but either way, frickin' esports bring it to set point.
All right, let's talk about what Edicam is doing here that is very critical. In fact, I'll try to point it out as we move to the offense side. See how he positions. He's walking towards the Atlas. Okay. Well, let me get back on offense. And the reason why you want to do this as Rasmus is twofold. Because one, obviously your primary placement is important off the walls and into the barriers, but also it makes the secondary from Atlas significantly smaller. And so that he's playing to cover both of these things with just one simple positioning trick. Atlas players hate this. And be so effective. It's very good, very interesting.
For finding something effective of their own, just taking frickin' Chris off the field. And picking up the point here. Overgrown Lemon with a flip available to try and tie up the game. The Crater Maker, though, coming in. Andy had other ideas there. Healing's got a drop here from Ripstick as frickin' Chris. Not quite the angle they're looking for. Find that barrier, it'll be FURT who pick up the first barrier there instead off of the flip. Frickin' esports looking to fight back. Have the Blobos here in the backfield. Not able to pick up any barriers still as Andy boosting up in, but Ripstick doing a really good job on that defense.
Jack.
Oh no. A modern tragedy.
That's okay.
Luna
You know,
betrayed.
That's why it's 2-2 right now. Every goalie gets one. And they can KO, and they didn't have that last round really, so you know they'll get the opportunity this time, I believe.
Quick barrier here for frickin' esports. Boosting in, Andy, but still holding pretty strong on these barriers. They do lose them both here, but getting more consistent as these go on. They will be able to pick up one as bring it back around. Overgrown Lemon looking to get in position here. Nice clear here from Andy. Sends it back up to the forefront, but can't get it past the midfield line. Frickin' Chris finally able to force it across into the top corner. Edicam getting knocked around and not able to find a good shot. Is Stagger has to burn the flip to stay alive, but they're going to pick up the KO first onto Angle Senpai. Start their power play. Edicam trying to stay alive here and be careful. Now has the whiplash up, looking for this top corner. Frickin' Chris able to recover, but nothing going into the net. As Angle Senpai respawns. And we head into overtime. Boosting in Andy. Not able to find much there either. Overgrown Lemon picks up a barrier on the return. Has the flip. Looking for the bottom corner right through frickin' Chris. And FURT take the first set.
Yeah, frickin' had the offense there for a good portion of that. Especially last point. Unfortunately, they were not able to find themselves a goal. And that's the threat of a Juliet Amy is you really only need one good attempt, and that's going to secure a goal, especially against a Luna goalie that only has so many tools to defend with, like bar, evade, and then doing something shenanigans. We'll point out, it's another hot shot going to Juno. This is the first time this season that frickin' Chris and Andy have both gotten their token character picks, and so hey, that first set went better for them than the last first set. So if they can get that pendulum swinging back in their momentum, especially if they're playing a bit of KO, everyone knows that KO scales obviously kind of hard. So in later sets, if they can get that damage up, then they'll be back online in no time. They're playing the defense good so far, mostly by having a really good offense. But if they can keep that up, that's going to be another thing to watch out for. I was just going to say they're doing a great job of dodging Juliet dash punches, but that was mostly Chris.
Yeah, another big KO here for FURT as they open up the goal. Andy, risky boost there, and actually is going to get punished for it. Overgrown Lemon able to sink in the net. Andy getting back fractions too late there to make anything happen on defense, and FURT, he's striking first here in set 2.
Yeah, Overgrown Lemon with the bulk up very iconically weak training slash sarcasm. Chat. That training is good. And he was able to get the kill on Eddie Cam, turn that power play into a goal. Oh, unfortunate barrier angle missed. Don't worry, Eddie Cam will clear it up. They turn it into a goal.
Both sides opened up here. Ripstick, too slow. Not quick enough. Pauldron's Atlas, the slowest man in the world, could not reach that one.
So,
That's unfortunate.
you know, I've been able to explain most things I see in the, or if I was asked to, I could explain most things I see in the draft, but Pauldron's Atlas is not really one that I would know how to explain. The character does damage, which I'm assuming they want to do to have Juliet clean up KOs, but I don't know, the value on Strike Shot Atlas is kind of crazy, especially after the primary, the projection nerf. You kind of really want Strike Shot if you're gonna pick goalie gear on Atlas, which is traditionally where he's played.
Yeah, it is. Oh my goodness. 4 seconds.
Play for you.
Yeah, no. I have been squandered. Overgrown Lemon with a 4-second one. Burt flurries off a double barrier.
It's not looking good either because they have so much energy advantage too into another barrier take. Freaking Chris though is playing really well today, honestly. He's been dodging the Juliet dash punches. He's been critical in the defense. He's been doing work on the offense. That was like the only thing that like perhaps he could like look for more solo plays when Eddie Cam isn't available to kind of like do it all himself. What a save!
Ooh, Andy.
Wouldn't matter.
Andy's life for the core. 5 seconds on this goalie power play, but Angle Senpai able to slip it by freaking Chris and get it to the forwards. And FURT, another set here that they're gonna walk away with. Overgrown Lemon gonna be the MVP. This is getting into really dangerous territory. They are 3 points away from taking this series.
All right, draft. Is it gonna be a short night or a long night? Juliet doesn't get anything incredible. Fight or Flight is pretty nice, especially with Twin Drive. If she picks up a stagger on someone, she gets 2 jumps back, which is really funny. Imy's no way taking the specialized training, but I don't know. I don't know if this is enough damage to really tilt the match into frickin' Esports' favor. I think they're just gonna have to play kind of just around keeping the core, like playing a really nice box to really keep the core on the opponent's side without dying, you know, to Juliet dash punch, obviously, because I don't think you're really gonna lose to damage here unless Imy gets like a ton of value. It's really gonna be your team that's doing more damage.
Yeah, speaking of damage, Ripstick actually have to heal himself there. I don't know if it was entirely necessary, but looking to stay healthy. Boosting in here, it's Andy. Gets hit with the expanse though, but they will pick up the barrier regardless. FRCK Esports in a good spot to find a point. Not able to make it happen though. A bit of a dyssynergy on that forward line. Now FURT with a chance. Fighting back, but Ripstick gonna whiff the Astra projection. Another one just slips right by him. Unfortunately, in frickin' Esports now. Get the first point in the set, but I mean, now they have a real mountain to climb.
That's the kind of angle that wakes you up, you like smelling salts. My eyes wide open after that one. The core mysteriously fast because of the speakers on the side, speeding it up. A wild play going on here. Also, right before that happened, you noticed both Angle Senpai and Overgrown Lemon committing a lot to the offense. I think both of them used like full kit aside from ultimates. We call them ultimates or specials? I don't even know. I forgot. I don't.
I think officially they're called specials in the game text. But
I see.
I mean, I say ult most of the time.
Yeah,
I mean, speaking of ults, that I'm the ultimate.
I'm used
Firewall Sentry. Yeah, set that up really nice. Made that really difficult for frickin' Esports to do anything there. For it to tie it up. Nice hook from Metacam. Hit stun Ripstick to pick up the barrier here. Now FURT with some offense of their own. A glitch pot from Angle Senpai picks up the first one. The core, though, slipping back on the FURT side of the field. Core flip here from Edicam opens up the barrier. Now freaking Chris with the breakaway in the corner gets KO'd by the glitch pop. Is going to lose the core flip for it, but another KO in return. It's a 2v2 here. Zango Senpai taking off the field. Edicam, one-on-one with Ripstick, has the whiplash, and in the top corner for Kid Esports on set point and staying alive.
Ripstick getting whiplash from that whiplash, sent back to the first map on just an early whiplash, scores another goal, and now they're just one goal away from turning this into a round win, hopefully getting, I think a lot of damage trainings are still available. I was going to say notably and then something, but I couldn't think of any, but I'm sure there's plenty, you know. We got a lot of trainings left as 2 rounds could be won at FRCK Esports if they keep up this pressure. Good passing plays. They need to hold this box against Atlas, and I think they're doing it very well right now.
Overgrown Lemon trying to make something happen. We'll pick up one barrier here with the hit stun. We bring out the flurries. A nice clear from frickin' Chris. Get it out of that Juliet ult there. Core flip comes out from Andy. Just enough to stall it and clear it out of there. Another firewall sentry on the top side. Edicam taking quite a bit of damage from that. Andy on the bottom side. Another death touch here from Edicam. The pendulum swing as well from behind the barrier. Picks it up, opens up the goal. In the top corner here, a pass down to frickin' Chris. Wins the strike warp, plops a Blabo. There's Edicam on the top side. Angle Senpai making the clear with the cyber swipe. Now Andy forced to clear it back out, but Angle Senpai picks up the second barrier. Edicam, though, on the breakaway, on the return, brings it all the way up and sinks it into the bottom of the net. Frickin' Esports, they're going to keep this game 2 going as they take that set.
Whiplash is most valuable cooldown of the match. Again, beautiful usage out of Edicam. No stranger to Rasmus, as I think can be just effective on forward as in net. Probably more effective even after nerfs. Rasmus is looking really nice in this match. But what are the teams rewarded with? It looks like it's gonna be. Honestly, I don't know what quite happened here. Heavy Impact just got passed up by the entire roster. I don't think it was nerfed that much. We get a dash training like Juliet. This is getting a bit wild, but I think that's going to be a mix-up that FRCK Esports need to be prepared for. I'm sure it's going to catch at least one person off guard, and that could be the last set that FRCK Esports play tonight.
Yeah, they're determined to keep this one going, though. That ad rush might be just enough. They haven't gotten too many KOs with the Luna. See if they can amp that up a little bit here. Nice barriers taken from Edicam. Still 2 to go for FURT. Andy boosting up. Not the greatest angle on that bumper, but gets it cleared out regardless. Now freaking Chris up to Edicam. The Blabo's here away, but Ripstick will hold. Now freaking Chris another opportunity. Sets up a Blabo. Edicam with a whiplash, but it goes straight up here. Now looking for the pendulum to get set up. Ripstick, nice saves here on the goal line. Keeping it alive. Edicam, a lot of damage on here. Nice evade to stay alive. Core flip from Angle Senpai. Picks up one barrier. Another core flip getting traded on the back line. Overgrown Lemon eventually picking up the barrier. Gets KO'd for it, though. It's a power play for frickin' Esports. Angle Senpai looking to make the 1-on-2 happen, though. Frickin' Chris up to Edicam boosting in. It's Andy, and it's enough to get it through Ripstick. And frickin' Esports score again.
Good cleanup for FRCK Esports. Pressure on the bottom side. Exactly kind of where you want to keep it, unless you're clearing directly. Like, Tempo 0 pass into the Luna dash, but hey, keep it on the bottom side. CC the goal, he fries in the bag. That point's gonna work like that. And it was kind of scary early because it felt like they had a lot of opportunities and they couldn't quite capitalize. Frickin' Chris had to do a lot of work on the defensive side as they had to do a few times tonight. But again, it's working in the final hour when push comes to shove. FRCK Esports show up just enough to keep this game alive.
Available here for Overgrown Lemon. Narrowly avoids that boost. And he almost had that KO, but still, frickin' Esports making big offense happen. Overgrown Lemon with a core flip, little punch there. Slowed down the core, though. FRCK Esports to recover. Boost not able to connect. And now for it pushing right back. But the Blabo is here from frickin' Chris, bringing down the bottom corner. Core flip here from Ripstick, catches Andy, boosted away, and Overgrown Lemon with an open net. Totally available, all the space in the world. He's going to pick up that point for FURT.
Right, anyone that knows me knows my comments on Luna goalie is the feast or famine character, even on offense. It's Like, I think I saw 3 boosts in a row that just unfortunately didn't connect in the way Andy wanted them to. I mean, it's 1 point apiece, right? So if they could just get it to work a little bit more than to not work. Honestly, it doesn't even have to do that. Just as long as it turns into more goals than it turns into goals against. And we'll see. Luna has a boost now and a flip. Could this play happen? Doesn't need to.
Doesn't even need it. Freaking Chris credited there with that goal as the defense from FURT had a little bit of a breakdown there. Didn't quite get the read on where that was going, and now freaking esports. I mean, they climbed the mountain last game and fell short at the goal line. Right now, I think they're looking to redeem themselves as they're making their way back up that same hill again, but with everything on the line this week. And FURT, 2 barriers and a goalie KO. They're putting that point away real quick. 4-4, match point, series point for FURT. But frickin' esports, they're on set point as well.
A sequence of errors, unfortunately, for esports. Crossing the point, good evade. I mean, they're so close. They're so close to making this all work. They didn't get that flip burned last time, but it only turns into a barrier against so far at this point. This is tense. I had more words to say, but honestly, this game's pretty hype. I'll say that.
Absolutely. It's certainly been a real contest in freaking esports, battling back game after game so far, but opportunity here for FURT. Andy not able to get too far on that boost, but just enough to clear it out. Angle Senpai looking to burn this flip, burns it right here. What timing! Perfect timing to get just enough hits done, and FURT will take the series off with that one. Freaking esports almost able to bring it back twice, but just not enough to get past FURT here. They take the series 2-0.
Freaking esports wanted the biased casting for me, as I am a substitute for that team. I didn't want to cast a curse, and I have some words as a player of that team, but hey, I don't. Maybe now is not the time or the place. What I have to give them credit though. They did put out a hell of a performance. I mean, they got to play the characters they wanted to play. That was awesome to see. Freaking Chris get Juno twice. I mean, it's always a pleasure to watch him on that. Credit obviously due to FURT. I mean, Overgrown Lemon putting out LeBron numbers here on the Juliet as always, and I mean, Ripstick kind of cleaned up those positional things as being a slow goalie. I knocked on pauldrons, but hey, the space was there. The damage kind of converted a few KOs. I mean, he wasn't the most damage in the lobby, but hey, they closed out that win. I think they were much more successful on keeping the offense clean, picking the characters that just put the fries in the bag, dash punch, just jump in, secure the goals, piercing shot, you name it. Those are the characters they want to play, and they're going to win with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Case in point.
Yeah, a lot more consistent overall, I think.
You're saying Luna isn't consistent?
Maybe.
And that's all the time we have tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to watch the rest of the NASA games. More coming your way. I'm assuming that this isn't the last one. Thank you. I've been Hamster Quest, and I always will be. Joined by Lego.
Yeah.
Thank you, Potat, on the spec. Thanks to all of our crew and TOs. Always got to pay respect at the end of my casting. Got to do it. Sorry.
It's true. It's true.
Have a good night. Omega Strikers.